What's going on, everyone? In today's Book Mind video, Victor and I are actually just going to help you get started. There's so many people who watch our YouTube videos that are really not Book Mind subscribers, haven't even signed up for a free trial. For some reason, just love watching content about book selling, but don't actually like to buy any books. And I think the number one reason for that is it just seems overwhelming. So today, Victor and I are really going to break it down into 5 really simple categories, 5 types of books that you can go out and buy right now, and we're going to give you an actual target, a number of books to buy over the next 7 days because that fits within a free Book Mind trial. And before we get into it, what's going on, Victor?
What's up, Joji? We're going to give you an action plan, right, Joji?
Yeah.
That you can do today. Start buying books today, actually. Sign up for a Book Mine trial and then start taking action. And within 7 days, you'll actually be a bookseller. So,
Yep.
yeah, let's get into it.
All right, Victor, we're over here on Book Mind, and the first goal is just to buy books, 5 books that are under $10 that we think with a pretty high likelihood we can sell for like $35 or more. And the reason why I really like doing this, Victor, is a couple reasons. We look for books that are under $10. It's really, really cheap, right? It's going to be as close as you can get to going to buy a book at a thrift store. So if you make some mistakes, which is okay because you learn from your mistakes, then they're cheap mistakes and you'll learn, a lot from it. And then if you think you can sell the book for $35 or more, that's a pretty big margin. So even if you're wrong pretty drastically, there's still a good chance that at worst case scenario, you just break even or make a little bit of profit, right, Victor?
Yeah, this is the main reason why we're putting this as number one, right? Because, like, if you can buy a book for under 10 that you're thinking you'll be able to sell for 35, that's enough margin to make some mistakes.
Yep. Okay. So Victor, how would we target a book that's under $10 that potentially could be, selling for 35 or more?
Yeah, so we have a lot of filters and drop down options here. And so the one we want to look at is the use price slider. We want to take the use price slider down from a dollar to 120, from that to a dollar to $10. And that will just magically take out most of the books out on BookMine and leave us with about 945 books. And these are all books that will ship to your house for under $10.
Yep. Okay. And what I would also like to do here is one of my favorite features, honestly, is the profit meter. Is let's pair the profit meter. So you can see we have close, good, great, and amazing. And again, your target over the next week, over the next 7 days, just to buy 5 of these. So I would just say look at the great and amazing. Obviously, good is still going to be good because it's called good. But if you look at the great and amazing, this actually brings it down even more. It actually gives you fewer choices, which could be considered good because maybe when there's too many choices, it gets too overwhelming. But let's load this and see what these 155 bucks look like. Now, one thing that you see here, Victor, is the price. And why is this price here so special, Victor?
Because actually the price we're showing you is the price that it's all in, right? That's the price that actually gets to your door. So that includes shipping.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can see that it does say great in the profit meter. And again, you do have the book cover here, so you can kind of see what the book looks like, whether it's a book that, college book, an all year round book, or so on. And then we have to keep a snapshot, which is where the money is made, Victor. You absolutely need to learn how to read a keeper graph, right? And the good news is we made the Book Mind Academy just for that. So make sure you check out the Book Mind Academy playlist, which happens to be free and it is extremely valuable. Definitely worth way, way more than it being free. But we just want to, give back and help you all out. So let's click on this first book, Victor, and let's see whether or not we think this book has a good chance of selling for over 35. Does that sound good?
That sounds great. Let's do it.
Okay. So we're here on the Keepa graph. Now, what we're going to do is look for intrinsic value of the book. And you can kind of start, I think, over the last 3 months, and then you can kind of expand out. So you have a general idea of what this intrinsic value is. So it's really simple, Victor. All we need to know to make a good decision about whether or not we should buy a book is to understand 2 things, Victor. That is,
Mm.
what does the book sell for historically? Like, what have people actually put their money on the table for? What have people actually bought the book for? And what's the book at today? And you can tell if there's a big enough brand, yeah, too, you buy it. So again, what kind of books are we looking for right now with this sort of strategy?
So we're looking for books that are under $10, and we're looking for a book that has an intrinsic value over $35, right? That's our goal number one. So we're wanting to see sales that have been historically over $35.
Right. So I'm again here over the last 3 months, and we're just going to look at the sales rank drops. So here's a sales rank drop, and the use price was $50. So what does that tell us if we have a sales rank drop at $50?
Okay. Green checks, right? That is at least one really positive indicator. Okay, but we still gotta look for more than that. But yes, we
Yep.
had found one positive indicator that it sold for over $35 and it sold pretty fairly recently, right? November 20th or whatever, not so
Yep.
far away.
Yep. We have another one here right around Christmas time for about $30. We have another one here for 25, another one here for 25, and then you can see, actually a bunch of sales link drops as the prices got cheaper and the used offer count has gone down. So that just tells me that the book is probably getting very, very undervalued, or it's getting to be a great deal. Because what tends to happen, Victor, when big grocery stores have sales on things that people love?
Yeah, people go in and buy out the stock, right?
Well, rush, they go buy it, right? It's a good deal. So that's also a good sign. Now, then expand to a year, and let's actually look at a little bit more data. So we can come in here in October. That looks like $64. We can come to see the sales link drop here at $74. Back here in June, July, I see sales link drop at 33, 33, 48, and 48. So based upon what we're seeing, is there a shot of this book selling for over 35?
I actually a really good shot that this book is gonna sell for over 35.
Yeah. And again, that's not just us, making that up or being emotional about it. It's just the fact. Like if you look at the data, and you look at, over here and again in November, like the lowest price in Amazon was $50. And the sales rank went from 1.9 million down to 216,000. So someone decided to buy the book and the cheapest they could have bought it for is 50, right? And then we also have other historical sales that are above that. Now you can go back further into time, you can see that there have been periods of time where it sold for over that as well. And there's also been periods of time, Victor, where it's been under that and it sold. Now the cool thing about books though, Victor, is that you know, books, like many products, they're kind of cyclical or,
Yep.
there could be seasons to them, or they could just be somewhat volatile where sometimes they go down and then they go back up in price. And the good news is that this book is going to sit on a shelf, right? And you get to decide what to list this book at. So if you were to buy this book, Victor, what would you be pricing this book at?
Probably like right under $50, probably 49.95 is probably my min price.
Yeah. Okay. So min price, and I would say for me, I'd probably go between like 40 to 49. So I'd probably go
Okay.
$40 min, max price 50. But again, both of those, even if Victor puts his min at 49 or I put my min at 40, like we're still wildly profitable, right? The goal is to sell it for almost $35 and get the
Right.
margin, right? And the thing is, that was just the first book up, right? There's probably much better books than just this first one, even though it is pretty good considering
Yeah.
some of the books that we sold at. So that could be a book that you could buy. And again, not every book that shows up would we recommend just buying without looking at it and just blind buying and trusting that Bookmine can just hand you everything on a silver platter and you don't have to do any work. Like you have to look at the keeper graph and I can tell just quickly from looking at these next two books that, hey, these two books didn't actually perform as well as the book before. And that's something that you'll learn over time as you continue to do this. Now, this one, Victor, does excite me a little bit more. So we could open this one. And again, Bookmine's telling us the all in
And
pricers.
the reason why we like that book, Joji, is because when we see the elevated price, we're still seeing a lot of green drops, right?
Yeah.
On the book before it, we saw an elevated price, but no green drops right there. In November, December, no green drops. But the book next to it or under that, you see green drops even though the price is elevated. And that's what
Yeah.
gets us excited, right?
Exactly. So this period of time that Victor's talking about, see how when the price is higher there's no sales rank drops? That tells us that no one's buying the book.
Right.
But here at the elevated prices, you see how there's sales rank drops there? That tells us that people have actually decided to buy the book. So that's what Victor is mentioning.
Right.
I'm glad that you pointed that out because that is really helpful. 728 is the all-in buy price, which is honestly barely more expensive than some of the books that you'd buy like Goodwill these days, right?
Right.
So again, what we would say is, go back over the last 3 months, you can say we have a sell at least $18, at least $15, at least $18, at least at 27. Go back a year, you have a sell at 27, a sell at 32, some at 25. Go back further, you've got a number at 35, some at 40. So long term, I'm kind of seeing a book that historically does actually perform well. And honestly, Victor, if you go back into time, 2018, 2019, 2020, it looks like every single year there's been at least some point in time where the lowest price has been over $35 and there's been a sales link drop.
Well, what I'm looking for is a book that's able to retain value for years, right? And so this book looks like that. This book has a lot of intrinsic value that it just holds on for year after year. And so this is a book that maybe I have to hold on to it for 6 months or maybe a little bit longer, but I believe it would recover back up to those $40 marks.
Yep. And for a book like this that I can see can sell up to $35, $40 at the lowest price. I mean, we're only buying it for 728. So for me, I'd probably put the min price at like 29.99. I'd probably put the max price at 39.99, and wherever it sells in there is gonna be great. This is definitely gonna be over 100% ROI. And the thing is, again, a book with tons of intrinsic value over a long period of time. Again, intrinsic value just means great historical selling data where the book is selling at a price range where you wanna sell the book for over a consistent period of time. And so for me, I'd be happy buying multiple copies of a book like this, even though, again, Victor said, and he's right, that it may take some time for this particular book to sell. That's completely fine with me. So
Yeah.
I would say goodbye.
Yep.
So we've only looked at a couple books. You can keep going on and on and on, and there's going to be books that are even better than the first couple that we looked at, and that's fine.
There's just so many books I'm seeing right here that are very valuable. I'm like,
Yeah,
buy that book, also that book. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of great books. So that's your goal over the next 10 days, or honestly over the next 7 days, is to buy at least 5 of these books for under 10 that you think you can sell for over 35. And, that's the first type. And by the way, Victor, our trial is 10 days, but I'm saying over the next 7 days because come on, like, we wanna kick
Yes.
you into gear. Like, you gotta actually
Sure.
buy books, you gotta be a bookseller.
Start today. Start doing something today.
Right.
Yes.
So, you have a 10-day free trial, but come on, let's get these books bought in the next 7 days. Alright,
Yep.
the next type of book we want you to buy are actually high school books. That's because right now it's early February. Coming up in May, June, July is when high schools, are going to start ordering books for, their students, and it's a great time to be buying high school books and be preparing. So, Victor, we want you to buy 5 high school books on BookMine over the next 7 days. So how would somebody do that here with BookMine?
So I think this is where BookMine for me really shines, right? It actually classifies books for you pretty easily. So not only does it tell you that this book has dropped in price and is below its intrinsic value, it also lets you know what type of book it is. And so you can go to book type on BookMine and it'll show you just, if you want to just look at high school books, you can. You can go to high school and just click on only high school books. And so there's 69 high school books right now that are below their intrinsic value, and basically all you have to do here is buy it now, right, in off season, and then sell it in May and on when it's peak season for high school books.
Yep. So you can see that we have a total of 69 high school books that I've loaded in. And again, the goal is to buy just 5 of these. So again, we're looking at intrinsic value. First, we're trying to identify that this is a high school book that will sell during the high school textbook season. So can you just generally tell us, Victor, when would we expect these high school books to sell the best?
Well, so the season kind of technically starts in the middle of May. And what's happening in the middle of May is that high school students are leaving school for the semester or for the year, and they're having to return their book back into the school. And so they're going to go to Amazon and go and buy said book so they don't have to go pay retail like price to give the school, right? So they would rather go to Amazon and buy a used copy. So we get a lot of sales then, and so it starts in the middle of May all the way until, like, say, the beginning of September really is where the most of the whole that's a whole season that just
Right.
all high school book, time. So, but anytime besides that is like a really dead season.
Yeah.
As you can
Exactly.
see right now where we are, like the beginning of February, it's a dirt cheap book. So, yeah, as you can see, it's pretty simple here. All we're doing is buying it when there isn't much demand and nobody really wants this book, and then we're going to turn around and sell it when people really are interested in it.
Yeah. So you can see that right now this book is around $11. At the same time last year, it was still in like the upper 20s. So this is why we found it on Bookmine, right? Because it actually is below where it normally is at this point in time, which is great. It's super undervalued. You can see that it was selling at the lowest price in the 30s and then the high 20s as well during the season. And you can see that, the book was by boxing at $34, at times even higher than that. So this is a book that's an AP edition. You can see basically every single textbook season. It has done quite well. This previous season didn't do as well as some of the other seasons, so I wouldn't buy as many copies as I would, let's say, if we had found this book like in 2021 or 2022 when it's much stronger, but still a book at $11, I think is a no, or $14 is still a book that I would probably list for, I would say, upper 30s to mid to upper 40s. That's what I would
Yeah,
do for min and max. What about you, Victor?
same thing.
Yeah, okay. Sounds good. Now, again, we do try our best to classify all these books, whether or not it's high school book, all year round book, college book, and so it won't be 100% accurate, but again, that's the sort of seasonality or time frame that you're looking at. So again, let's look at this book called Elementary Algebra. And we can see, okay, yes, definitely we see most of the sales, like Victor said, start picking up here in May, going to the beginning of September. That's where
Right.
most of the sales are happening.
Yep.
And we can see that this book's lowest price was in, 35 to 40, up to 45, buy boxing for $45 a whole year, or for the whole period of time. And now it's sitting here at $14 plus shipping. Offer count looks good on as well. So here's a book that I'd be buying multiple copies of. What about you, Victor?
Yeah, it's the same thing. Definitely would be interested in this book. I buy 3, 4 copies at least,
Yeah.
of this of the and remember your goal is to only buy 5, and
Yeah.
you could just buy 3 right now from this one
Right.
book.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so, just really awesome, right? That you can simply just click high school and then you just will have a bunch of high school books. Scrolling down a little bit further, we have another book here, McDougall Littell. So $13 all in shipped. You can see how it spiked very well there during the high school textbook season. So
Mhm.
potentially this is a book that could do just as well this year. So you can see in previous years, the sales rank got very, very low. The lowest price didn't really go up, but you can see how the buy box price definitely went up.
Yeah.
And it's interesting when you find books like that that have a ton of demand, where maybe the used price doesn't go up that high, but the buy box does consistently every year. Now, last year, Victor, what happened to the offer count?
It really dropped, it really dived, and which is a really positive sign for this book in the coming year.
Yeah,
You can see, year over year, what the used offer count is, like, what, saying around 60 now, and versus a year ago, over 100. This is a really positive sign. I would definitely be interested in this book right now. I would probably buy at least 5 copies. It's a very in demand, book.
uh, yeah, absolutely. And this book got up to $70 the lowest price, all a ton of sales. Was even buy boxing at $90. So there are people who literally bought this book for 7, 10, $15 and flipped it for like 70, 80, 90, which is pretty insane.
Yeah.
All right, Victor, the next set of books we want you all to buy is 5 college textbooks in the next 7 days. Victor, how are we gonna find college textbooks?
Yeah, a lot of people think this is like their bread and butter, right? A lot of OA sellers, this is what they mostly focus on is college textbooks. And again, you can just go to book type and then look for college and then click on just only. And so we're only going to look now just for college textbooks, and we have 755 college textbooks just
Okay.
ready for you to look at and sweat
Yep.
from.
So pretty self-explanatory, just like with the other types of books, we're really heavily relying on Keep It to help us make decisions. So a book that, again, July, August, September, that's when that's when college textbook season is really gonna pop off, really in August. That's gonna be your best month. But a book that was selling for well over $100 is now sitting here at 43 bucks. And you can even see just recently, even in the January textbook season, at the lowest price is selling for 70. Buy boxing as high as 90, and it's sitting there at $43. So,
So
was that
just like 2 weeks ago, this book was selling for $90 and now it's in the 40s. So
this
yeah.
book here also looks great. It's a lab manual workbook, and if we look at this keeper graph, you can see it recently has a sell for $70 and was selling for $60 during the season, even kind of almost all year round, and now it's sitting down here at $20. A very, very old book that's performed very, very well long term, and so a great book. I'd be buying this book in an instant. I'd probably buy just maybe even 2, maybe even 3 copies of this for me just because of the fact that I know just by, like, looking at it, this is a very old book, so it's been out for a while, and a book that's probably going to be in demand for a long time, and just Victor happens to be very, very underpriced relative to all of its historical selling data.
Yeah, for some reason, in some type of repricing war that's happening right now, I would definitely take advantage of it. Buy, just like you said, Joji, probably buy 2 or 3 copies, and then I just know within a year, I would have both of those, copies sold.
It's crazy because it's literally the lowest price it's ever been, at least in the last year. It's at $20. All the sales before that are $50 plus. So for me, if you tell me, "Hey, Victor, here's something, I'll let you buy it for 20 and it always sells for 50 to 60, would you buy it?" I'm gonna be buying that. I mean, that sounds like a great deal. That sounds like an awesome, I mean, it is an awesome deal.
It's literally way over 50% off. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, I'm in it. Yep, I'll do that. Yep.
Yep, absolutely. And we can keep going. And again, there's how many books do you have to choose from? 755 books. And again, all we did here was book type. You could always go back and go to profit meter. You go to supply meter. You can use the book mind score. All of that's up to you. But just another great way to source. The next thing that we want you to do is to buy 5 Christmas books. And I understand that it's February, and I understand that it's 10 months from now, and I understand storage fees are going to make everything not profitable. The reality is that it's only gonna cost you maybe 6 or 8 cents per month to keep those books there, and there are going to be some great winter books or Christmas books that pop up throughout the year that you might not ever be able to snag at that cheaper price. And so if you're looking for Christmas books every single day of Book Mine, you're going to come out with winners and be prepared for Christmas. So, Victor,
Yeah.
how are we going to find Christmas books here?
Well, Joji, I'm always interested in books where people are not interested in, right?
Yeah.
So these Christmas books, no one's interested in right now. We're in like the beginning of February. No one's thinking of Christmas, but we are. You got to go to book type, click on winter, and you'll be able to find all of our Christmas books that are currently just recently dropped. And this constantly changes. It's a smaller season, but these are really great, dependable books.
Yep. We can see a book here. And again, what amount of work needed to be done to find these Christmas books?
Like 3 clicks. Go
Yeah.
to book type, click winter, and now they're here. Yeah.
Yeah, it can be simpler than that. So we have a cookbook here that was selling in December into January at the lowest price for $40 and then even up into $50, $60. Now it's sitting down here at $22. Basically, there is definitely a possibility this book could get cheaper throughout the year. So maybe not necessarily buy now, but there's something to be said about when a book does get to what a price that you consider to be a good price. There is something to say for just pulling the trigger and just buying it then, because even though the book could become cheaper in the future, there's no guarantee that it does become cheaper. And if it doesn't become cheaper, then you've essentially missed out. But if the book does become cheaper and it's still a book that you think will do well, then you just buy more copies and you lower your cost base. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm
Or
pretty confident I could sell this book in the 50s.
yeah,
So buying this book at 22 and selling it for 50, that's profitable. So I would buy one now and with the thoughts that, well, if it gets down to like 15, $16, I'm going to buy another copy, but if not, at least I got a copy in and I'm going to sell it for Christmas.
yeah, and this book has so much demand that if something like this happens, Victor, where it just really goes incredibly low to like 5 or $6, and for some reason, there's just a lot of mega bulk booksellers, a lot of people are really competing hard on price. And I know that this book is required. I just buy a bunch of
Yeah.
copies, right? And so again, that's one lesson that I've learned over a long period of book selling is that when you think a book is a good deal, buy it, even if you think there's a chance that it could go lower, just because you want to be in the game. You want skin in the game.
Yeah.
You might not make as much profit if the book does go lower. But again, if the book goes lower, buy more copies.
Yeah.
It's gonna lower your cost basis. Okay, so maybe the first copy you bought, you only made $8 profit. But what about the other books that you're able to buy? Maybe you're making $15, $20 profit. And again, go back to the original scenario. Well, maybe you bought this book for $22 and you're like, I think it's still gonna be cheaper in the long run. What happens if it doesn't get cheaper? What happens if this next year is the best year it's ever had? And you're like, well, at least I bought a copy for $22 and maybe the book goes up to $60 or $70 and you actually made money because you made the play. If that makes sense.
Yeah. It makes sense, Joji. And we get to do this differently than every other business out there because our margins are so high. Whether businesses are operating on like 6% margins, we're operating on 50% margins. And that's where we're able to like cost price average this.
This book just went insane.
Yeah.
Pullback busy Santa book. I mean, it went all the way up into the 40s and sitting down here at $5 plus shipping. So again, just make the play, right? You can see every year this book does incredibly well.
Oh, yeah. It's a great
Uh,
book.
incredibly well. And I'm wondering, is it like a pop-up book or this is a pullback Santa book? So with a winter books, make sure that if there's something like if it's a recordable book or if it's a pop-up book, like you're definitely gonna want to try to make sure you're buying better condition copies and test them out if possible. But a book that looking at the data looks to be a winning Christmas book every single year.
Yeah. But, and this is the question I would love to ask. How do you know this year it's going to be great? Right. And it's again because we're able to look at 5,000 days and
Yeah.
every year you can see the green drops happening every Christmas. And so you just come to the assumption it's going to happen again.
But
So
but Victor,
yeah,
Yoji made his YouTube channel in 2021. He started telling well, actually, no, that's not true. I interviewed you in what,
yeah,
2022? 2020?
yeah,
Interviewed Victor Gallegos. He told the whole entire world, every single thrift store in the United States. I remember we had a comment on one
yeah,
of our YouTube videos that all the thrift stores all watch our videos, right? So every thrift
yes.
store knows about this book now.
And now
But
no one's gonna now it's ruined because this Christmas book is just never gonna spike in price anymore, and we've ruined it for everyone. And
and now that we're
ba-
giving it away now,
yeah,
it's going to ruin it for the next year, right?
based on data, it's gonna happen again.
Yeah, it's gonna happen again. Let's go down. Just a ton of great books, and look at this.
Again, we only need 5 of these. So buy
Yeah,
5 of these and then check that off and just, keep going.
Night Before Christmas pop-up book was selling in the 20s. You can see it went out of stock. Someone is buy boxing there at 125. It'd be interesting to see if they actually sold it or not. And just another book. I don't really think there's a much cheaper price you can get into. You can see I've even bought this book, and I believe I've actually sold this book.
Joji,
So
1967. This book still is reaching $125 for Christmas. That was created in 1967. It's kind of crazy.
yeah, 1967. I think this book also has a listing to it as well. I think there's another listing to it,
Okay.
but um, yeah, just a great book. I mean, you can see every year the offer kinda gets
I like the fact
low.
that it sold out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it sells out. So, awesome book there. Other great books, and the cool thing about this, you might go, Victor, Joji, there's only, 12 results as of this day that you mine, but remember, BookMine is finding books every hour. So, when other Christmas books that we've coded go undervalued, then they'll
Yeah.
pop up here. And so, if you're looking at it every day, I mean, you're gonna be finding great Christmas books the entire year,
Right.
right? So,
Oh yeah. Tomorrow there's gonna be a completely different list of Christmas books on here.
yeah. And Victor, finally, over the next 7 days, we want you to buy 5 all year round books here. So to find all year round books, again, you could just go to book type and you could simply just deselect any. I guess you could just click only for all year here. And again,
Yep.
we're not 100% accurate with our coding. You will still find some college books, maybe some Christmas books, maybe some high school books in all year round or vice versa. That's just because we can't be 100% accurate, but what we try to do the best that we can to kind of bucket those or categorize those for you to make it literally one click to help you there. But what you will find is, again, you will find books that are all year round books. And I would say an all year round book is something like this, like Black
Yeah.
Claw's Dictionary.
Yeah.
It's actually an incredible book. Uh,
Oh yeah. I love this book. I try to keep this book in stock all year long.
yeah, so it's a book
Uh,
that generally sits in the 50, I guess at the low end, the $20 range, and then up to can get up to 40 or 50, specifically in the buy box, and it's now down to 19, but you can see how this is a book that just sells, sells, sells. It's just always selling, right? So down here, $15 plus shipping, which is historically very, very cheap. I mean, even the beginning of this year is like $40 at the lowest price,
right.
but plenty and plenty of sales. So a great all year round book there.
So like
Let's
if
see.
if you were to see this anytime soon, I would definitely go and buy that book right now.
Yeah, exactly. Another book here that appears to be an all-around book that's coming up with a bookman score of 8. It does look like we have quite a few college textbooks in here as well. So again, that's another reason that it's good sometimes when you go to Bookmine just to look at the feed and not necessarily always defiltering and always deselect or always select something because of the fact that it's not possible for us to 100% of the time, right, be accurate. But this book to me is looking amazing. Why is that, Victor?
Because I mean, I can just tell it with you, right? The entire year, it's like around right around $160. It
Yeah,
tons of sales, 160, 160, 160, 160, and then just right now, price is much lower than 160. So it's a no-brainer. It's in both
absolutely.
definitely would like. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That book is amazing.
Yeah.
So, go buy that book, right? That could be one of your books, but Victor and I really just wanted to help people get going. At the end of the day, I would say a large majority of people don't even start, which is kinda crazy. It's like, they're like, "Okay, I wanna drive a car. I see everyone else driving a car. I wanna drive a car." And we're like, "Alright, we'll open the door." And they're like, "Yeah, nah, but I think I'll just wait. I'll just sit on the sidewalk and that's what other people," and you're like, "Just open the door, just go."
Yeah.
And so this is your open the door moment. Sign up for a free trial book mine. It's 10 days long. You can cancel it before the 10 days are up. We want you to actually just get some skin in the game. Just go buy some books. 25 books over the next 7 days.
Yep.
Pretty easy to do.
Just try it out, right?
Yeah.
We don't know whether or not you're gonna like it or not, or whether or not you like this type of business. Both me and Joji, of course, really like it, and we have tons of other people who really like it. And there's so many positives of why we do it. It's mostly because we get to do it at our own house, right?
Yeah.
Joji's over here sourcing just in his office, and same thing with me. And we don't have to drive anywhere. We don't have to touch any of these books. Just literally click on some buttons, and we have a business.
Yep. So really hope you enjoyed this video. Sign up for a free trial book mine. Go buy yourself 25 books over the next 7 days. Just go out and do it.
Yep.
It's really
Let's
not
go
that hard,
do
but
it,
you gotta take action. We can't do it for you. You gotta go out, you gotta do it. So, we'll see you all on the next one. Peace.
guys.